Hi everyone, and welcome at yet another, and I think already the seventh Ask Me Anything for StartupLeap. Today we're going to talk to Anoesjka Imambaks, Executive Director of Venture Café. So let's see if we can get her on board. Just waiting for Anoesjka. Here's Venture Café. There we go. Sure
Hi.
thing. Hi,
Hey.
Anoesjka. I was just inviting you on your personal account, but this
Yeah,
works perfectly.
I thought it's maybe better to do it via Venture Cafe since we have that account has more followers. So,
Yeah, that's even better. All right, awesome. Well, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us during this Ask Me Anything this evening. So for everyone who's watching and will be watching, and I'll be repeating this during the Ask Me Anything. If you have any questions for Anoesjka, feel free to post them in the chat or post them on Slack, and we'll post them here in the chat and get your questions answered. So Anoesjka, again, thanks for being here. Before I introduce you, maybe you can tell us a little bit about who you are, what you've done so far, and what you do today.
of course. So my name is Anoesjka. I'm the Executive Director of Venture Cafe Rotterdam, and I've been that since 3.5 years. Really excited, supporting the innovation ecosystem, being a connector. Before COVID-19, of course, doing a lot of offline events, Thursday gathering. But after COVID, of course, everything is now online. We're now online, so it has, some advantages too. I studied public administration at Erasmus University, born and raised in Vlissingen, Zeeland. And
Wow.
I also own a company in the cleaning industry, housekeeping. And recently I started a new company called Books, where we combine a food concept with amazing podcasts. So yeah, basically that's a little bit about me.
All right, awesome. Okay, that's going to be the menu for a great evening today. You briefly mentioned, Venture Cafe, of course, of which you are the executive director, and you mentioned you do several, or you used to do several things online or offline, and now you do things online. So, how did that transition go? And is there anything that the other startup founders can learn from that? Because, of course, old channels that
Mhm.
used to be relevant are completely irrelevant today.
Yeah, I think the unique selling point of Venture Cafe was always that it was a physical place, right? It is a physical place in the city of Rotterdam, of course, located in het Groothandelsgebouw, where every Thursday there's something going on where you really can meet people. But yeah, since March 5th, we got, of course, the message about COVID-19, and we were the first organization to close our doors just to keep our community safe since everyone is welcome. So on March 12th, basically a week later, we were completely online. And not only Venture Cafe Rotterdam, but we also have other locations. We have six in the US. We're also located in Tokyo, Japan, Australia, Warsaw. So basically, the whole global organization went online, which is quite a big transition. Also, because people come to Venture Cafe to really meet like-minded people, to grab a beer,
Hmm.
wine, to chat.
Yeah.
But also, I do miss the sound. Like when you come into a Venture Cafe Thursday gathering, you hear all those people, talking, and like things going on, workshops, seminar, panel discussions. That is completely different. Everyone is now at home working, and we do notice that if people want to like join an online venture cafe, people kind of presume it as work because you already are on your
Ah,
laptop all day long, and then also to join
yeah.
a venture cafe evening is quite challenging. But I do have to say, from the average of 300 people that we had in our at our physical events, we still have around 100 every week online, which I'm very
Yeah.
proud of. So yeah, the team is doing an excellent job. But it's
So
really
how
also,
did you go about that? How did you
well,
move it online? What did you actually move online, and what new things did you start?
good one. Yeah. So we basically use Zoom, and every talk that we organize, every workshop or panel discussion, we just organize it via Zoom. But we also use another program called Remo, and that is basically an online platform where we kind of want you to have the feeling that you are in a cafe where you have like multiple tables, you can move yourself around, you can interact with people, but still it is a different, it's a different vibe and a different feeling. And what I don't really like is that people turn off their camera. I really do notice that people are a little bit afraid of the camera. So when they're joining a workshop or a discussion, it is, it is challenging to get people more activated and really joining the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So from an acquisition perspective, because you still have to get people to your online sessions now. Has anything changed so far, or do people still find you?
Well, actually, I'm very proud that we have a large global community. So people still find us, but we do notice that we had to, change a way of thinking of what kind of workshops or seminars or discussions are people now very interested in. And we do see like a trend in the beginning of COVID, like the first period around April, May, people were really into like online yoga sessions or sessions on mindfulness or cook along programs. But then again, now you see like a shift. During the summer, we had the summer school program, which was a build your own venture. We had more than
Hmm.
80 subscribers and really people joining like every Thursday a specific program. And in the end of the
Hmm.
program, people could, build their venture basically. And that was really successful. So you do see in COVID a trend that people are now thinking about, what's my purpose in life? What should I do? What kind of company should I start? This is the moment to do it. Don't wait.
Yeah.
This is the moment. You have to build it now. And then after COVID, when everything turns back to normal, then you have, something already there. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and as you mentioned, you recently started another company, so we'll get to that topic a little bit later. Again, for everyone who is watching, feel free to post your questions in the chat. You also briefly mentioned, you missed the sound, you missed the chatter. How is that with your team? So, what is your experience with remote working when it comes to productivity? Is that different from on-site work?
Yeah, it is totally different. I can remember the days that people were saying that people who work at home actually don't really work. But I have to say, like after COVID or now, everyone understands that you basically work harder and more at home because you're so focused behind your computer. So I really try to ask my team, make sure that you take some time off, think about yourself, some exercise. Yeah, but and unfortunately, we cannot go to office because of the extreme measures taken now. But we do try to, keep in touch with each other, calling a lot or via Zoom team meetings. But yeah, life is different, right? So you have to pay a lot of attention to, the private part, like if is everyone doing okay? How is it at home? It has,
Yeah.
some challenges. True. Yeah, but I think every
Yeah.
company has that now, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so one discussion that we have a lot is the distinction between the acquisition process for B2C versus B2B companies. You mentioned you studied public administration. If I'm correctly, you actually worked at the national government for a while.
True.
Like for startups that are, targeting governments, either local, regional, national.
Mhm.
So what is the best way for startups to approach the government as a potential client?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think a lot of we at Venture Cafe try to be that connection or to try to make that connection. I think RVO is the Dutch Enterprise Agency is the perfect channel to have a good contact. But I do have to say that if you know how it works, like in the government, it is easier than yeah, it's super easy to get in contact with them. For example, if you are a company based in the Netherlands and you want to expand to, for example, Middle East or to the US, just reach out to the Dutch embassy, and those people are being paid to basically, connect you to the right consumer, to the right factory. There are so many easy ways to basically connect to the government. It's more that, they don't have really a sign or a doorbell or those kind of things. But I think that RVO is one of the, the best entrances, and then the Dutch embassies, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So you think that is the easiest way for startups to get in touch with the government?
Yeah, and it depends a little bit which part of the government. Like, what do you exactly want them to do? Are they supposed to be your launching customer, or is it like a proven product, or is it that you want to expand to a different market? I think that also
All right.
is very important to know. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So another topic, you mentioned you run a business in housekeeping. I think it's called Made at Home. So what problem were you trying to solve when you started with this? So how did you run into the problem, and how did you come up with the solution?
Yeah, well, I actually just saw a lot of people around me having all these maids cleaning their houses, and people were asking, like, where do you find a maid to clean? And it always went via friends or via the church or, at the local supermarket, via these little notes. So I thought, this is interesting. Like, who are these people, and do they actually know how to clean? Are they professionals? And that's how I kind of found out that if you are, it doesn't have a professional status, like being a cleaner in someone's house. And also the whole position of being a cleaner is not really, how do I say it? A lot of people really look down at those people. So, and actually I found out that someone wrote a master thesis on cleaning in the Netherlands. So this lady actually wrote a whole story about all the challenges that people face when they hire a cleaner, like the communication. How do I pay that person? That person doesn't clean correctly. How do I address this? And I took all those points and created Made at Home. So I thought, let's put it out there as a professional occupation. Like, this is a true profession. You are, you should wear a nice uniform, be very proud of yourself, because it's so important work. Actually, because a lot of people work all day and then they don't have any time basically to clean their house. And, they want to spend that quality time, towards friends or family or kids. So that's how I basically created Made at Home. So actually working a lot with the local government, with people with a distance to the labor market, give them a training.
Yeah.
I went to school myself. I have a cleaning degree. So I learned myself, like, the technical part of cleaning, like how do you clean, which products do you use? Yes, there is an education for that. So I got my degree in cleaning, and that's how I started my company. And then, of course, during the years, I developed myself, and I'm now really positioned at the more luxury houses. So where people are really looking for a maid that is in-house, like in-house living. So working there for 24 hours, and that is my expertise. And now, since like recently, I became an instructor at the International Butler Academy in Limburg, in the south. So that's where we have like this amazing course every 3 months, a class of 20 butlers that come from all parts of the world doing this course, and I get to give the housekeeping course there. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So you mentioned there's actually the educational aspect about this. Like, to find out more about how this market worked, did you talk to the maids? Did you talk to their customers? To see how it worked, and if so, to how many?
Yeah. Well, the
How do you
problem is,
decide when you've had enough?
yeah, actually, I wasn't in the beginning when I started that company. I wasn't really an entrepreneur in the sense of that I wrote a lot of business plans. So I talked to a lot of people, did a lot of research, asked like the consumers, the homeowners, where do you find them? How much do you pay them? When do you fire them, or how? How does the government, like the rules? How do the rules work? Where do you find those people? I interviewed a lot of people, but the point came that I was, talking too much, writing too much, and not doing anything. So
Yeah.
that's when I was watching TV, and I saw on TV this a CEO of a cleaning company in Rotterdam, a Moroccan lady who talked about, cleaning as a start for a new life. Like you come and you clean, but then we help you, we coach you, we give you education to move on. And I was so inspired that I reached out to her on email and said, "Hey, I'm Anoesjka. I have this weird idea of starting a cleaning company. No one does this. Am I crazy? I have a lot of research, pages, pages." And then in the first meeting, she told me like, "Okay, listen to me. Here is a key from a house. You can have this as your first client, like your proof of concept. This is your first client. Just go and clean, please. Don't write anything. Don't, you're talking." And that's basically the point that I, switched from writing and thinking into doing. And that is actually, right, what an entrepreneur should do. Is just do it. Don't think.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
All right. So, is it correctly that you're the sole founder of the company?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And I have to
So,
say,
can
there are
you,
not, yeah.
yeah, can you share some benefits, or maybe some downsides of being a sole founder?
Yeah. Every successful company should have a great team. And being an entrepreneur is also discovering your own, the your own weaknesses and strengths. So, what are you good at, and which parts are you like terrible? And then you should build a great team. The thing is with cleaning that I developed, of course, a lot of experience and a special vision. And whenever I come into a house, I exactly know, how the cleaning schedules should look like, or where to start, or I can, if they give me a profile of, oh, I need a maid and she should know this or that, or speak English or Dutch or whatever. I'm just, it doesn't take like a real big team, but I do notice that marketing is like super challenging. It's a lot of work using your social media. It's a lot of work to, getting the news out there, what you're doing. You really need a team to be successful. So that's why the problem with me maybe is that I have a lot of things going on. And what I learned is that you have to have an amazing team around you to make sure that all those things keep on going. You cannot be the sole founder, sole entrepreneur. Yeah.
So, would you then suggest sole founders to, find a co-founder first, or what's the
Yeah.
difference between hiring or finding a co-founder in that sense?
The thing is that you shouldn't be afraid of hiring. It's more that you should find people that share your passion or knowledge. And of course, there are multiple ways to pay people, right? You can pay them with, of course, you can give them a salary, but you can also tell them like, "Hey, I'm a startup. I have this crazy idea. Do you believe in me? Do you like it? Do you have a passion for it?" And then you might be surprised of how many people would actually say, "Okay, let's do it together." And then of course, if things will, develop and grow, then you can divide shares, or, talk about the legal stuff, which is also very important, of course. But yeah, first find like-minded, crazy people like you, and,
Nice.
come to Venture Cafe, for example, join our community, and you will meet a
You'll
lot
find
of,
lots of crazy people.
of course, because that is basically the culture, like 10 or 20 years ago in the Netherlands, that you only become an entrepreneur if your mom and dad had a company or if you were crazy. But now things have changed and everyone could follow like a minor entrepreneurship. I love the fact that students are now talking about, oh, I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to, do this, do that. Well, 20 years ago, when I was working at the government, I worked on those plans to change that mindset. So for me, it's like
Yeah.
super exciting to see that it's really working now. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so about the company made at home. Where is it today, and where is it heading?
Well, actually, I'm still, yeah, a professional recruitment agency. So we work for the more luxury houses, let's say the quote 500 in the Netherlands. But then again, the Netherlands is a small market. The world is your biggest market, of course. So
Mm-hmm.
the first step was to actually, no, well, when I'm now an instructor at the International Butler Academy, I'm now thinking of, being an instructor at luxury worldwide hotels, of course, because housekeeping is one of the most important parts of a hotel industry. But then again, it's also the part that gets, the least of attention. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm now changing a little bit the business model into looking forward to the professional travel industry and hotels. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so you also mentioned, during this last, let's say, 8 months, you founded Barabox. So you actually took the time during this like strange times to start a new company. So why did you start this one, and how did you run into this?
Yeah, well, actually, at Venture Cafe, we used to have these, we always were looking for snacks because, of course, food connects, and every event is very positive if people, enjoyed the food. And I have a Surinamese background, so food is very important. And with every celebration, we have like baras. So there's like savory fritters or savory snacks, which you eat with like spicy tomato chutney. And it really had this nice vibe in Venture Cafe, and people really loved it. Um, so, during COVID, I was like, okay, I really miss that, that connection, that being together, celebration. And then I was talking to my life partner, Julio, and we were talking about, we should really do something with the barras. And that's basically how we came up with Barra Box. But not only the fact that we just, bake them and sell them, we wanted to share the story behind it, like talking to each other, making a connection. So we created a podcast called Barra Talks because, when you enjoy a barra, you should listen to a podcast. And the podcast is all about change makers. So people who are role models or have really like an inspiring story. People, stories that I really miss in the media. Like I don't see them around.
Yeah.
It's always the same stories, the same, flavors. And I just want to, yeah, change that a little bit. So I'm very excited that tonight we're going to launch our second podcast. So it's very exciting. I was just
Nice.
working on it. Yeah, and that's how we kind of combine the food concept with the concept of podcast and still a little bit of heritage and a little bit of, connecting to the community. And it's vegan, it's made locally, and it's also, it has a good story. So.
Nice. So yeah, you just mentioned, it's made locally. I can imagine, especially for startups that produce food or physical products in general. Like, what do you do yourself, and what do you outsource? How do you make a decision about outsourcing?
That's a good one. Basically, I'm in the middle of that, in that. Let's say that it starts very small, right? Because it's a family recipe, it's being made by the family. But then when you actually are starting a company, you have to have that vision of, let's conquer the world, basically. That should be your vision always. But okay, so it starts very small. But the thing is that you should actually have good numbers, like customers. That does all the talking. So first step is try to sell as much as you can of the product. Make sure that the quality is correct, make sure that, legally and all the guidelines, everything is perfect. And then think about a business model, how to grow this and how to outsource this. But it starts with basically your customers. People tend to, think very big in the beginning, which is fine. But then again, the numbers, right? They count, they do speak.
Yeah.
Like it's very important to sell. So that the proof of concept is already there. People are enjoying it. We try to have a lot of positive reviews. Yeah, so I hope it will grow, and that we can. It's a great way to share more stories about role models
Hmm.
and entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you mentioned it already. So food businesses are known for being highly regulated. So how difficult is it to, let's say, follow the rules, follow the guidelines? Maybe do you need any, let's say, stamp of approval or those kind of things?
Yeah. Well, nothing in life is difficult, right? If you really want to do something, everything is possible. Just, make sure that you have the right papers, the right courses. There are a lot of hygiene courses that you can follow. And actually, because of Venture Cafe, we were already doing a lot of events. And when you do events, you need your licensing, you need your how do you call, like the hygienic courses. I already had to do a lot. So um, yeah, it's not that it was very new to me, but nothing is difficult. And I think that, you know what, a lot of other entrepreneurs in the food business are really, open to give you advice. Like even on your product, like how does it taste, how to sell, how to wrap. I have, of course, a large network, and
Yeah.
because of Venture Cafe also. And actually, one of my friends owns a big sushi restaurant in Rotterdam. So I just visited her with a box of barras and asked her, like, okay, can you give me advice? And she started laughing, like, are you now going to like start a restaurant or something? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, no, food is a way to connect to people. But if you have the connection, then it's all about, the storytelling, the podcast. And then she helped me basically to say, okay, this box is too big, or the portions are too small, or, nice tips. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs really enjoy to, give back also a little bit of information
Yeah.
and sharing their knowledge. Yeah, so don't be afraid if you want to
Nice.
start something. Yeah.
Ah, cool. So, the story is very important with both companies that you're running. Considering there's also, a lot of tech startups in this area. How important is technology for both concepts?
I think tech is the heart of every company. It's the same with the power of social media, the power of all your data. I learned at Venture Cafe that we had 14,500 visitors last year. That is like a lot of data, and that is basically also the power of the community. That is how we can help people that are coming to Venture Cafe, that are seeking knowledge, that we try to connect. So tech is like the heart of every company, especially when you want to grow and scale. And I think that artificial intelligence and data analytics, even your Facebook, Instagram suite, if you have a company online, you have this, of course, dashboard. Everything is about analyzing the data, like who is clicking where, how do you reach your target group, growth hacking, right? Everything is basically tech. So even if you run a food business or a cleaning company, whatever, tech is in the heart of everything. Yeah.
Nice. So, you do a lot of different things. So you run two companies, you're executive director for Venture Cafe. So, of course you mentioned, it's important to have the right team, but how much time do you spend on each of your companies?
Good question. I think that, being an entrepreneur, it's not something that is, it's not a job, it's a way of life. So for 24 hours a day, I'm like, thinking about one of the companies or concepts or the team. And I do have to say, I have an amazing team and they give me a lot of inspiration, sometimes without even knowing it that they do that. And I really like the energy. I like talking to all the startups and scale ups from our community because it's that energy that also gives me again energy to start new things, and it's also about learning and seeing opportunities. And I know COVID-19 is a really tough year. This whole year is of course very tough, but try to see it in a more positive way, that it has a lot of challenges. And it's also a moment to just think about why you get up every morning out of bed. Like, what is your purpose in life? Are you really happy about the things that you're doing now? Could you change things? It's also a good moment to reflect. And I think that
Yeah. So,
yeah.
no, that's okay. Continue, please.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, I think that it is, again, this is the moment to start something new or to change something, because after
So it's
COVID.
not about,
Mhm.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's after COVID and everything changed back to normal, you have all your skills ready to go and just move forward.
Yeah, perfect. So it's not about how much time you spend on it, but why you do it and what you do with your time. Nice. So,
Exactly, yeah.
here's a question from Johan. Do you have the same people involved in both your companies?
Actually, I have to say that from Venture Cafe, I learned a lot. Like when I started at Venture Cafe, I was not that tech or digitally, but during my time here, I really learned about about Slack, about social media, like how does it work. But also because of COVID, we flipped right from offline to online, and there are so many new things coming our way. And I do have to say that the people are not formally involved in all of the companies, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I see them more than my own family. So if you talk to each other, and they also have amazing ideas, so we help each other. So it's a yes and a no, I think.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm very thankful
Okay,
for
cool.
them. Yeah.
That's awesome. I think you're also a great example of, I mean, maybe not being fearless, but at least, you kind of appear to be. I mean, you're executive director for Venture Cafe, you run a company, and then you decide, let's just start another one. For a lot of people, starting a company is, let's say, a fearful activity. Do you feel that way, or and if not, or if you do, like how do you mitigate that fear?
Yeah, I think fair is always it's also a good thing. It keeps you a little bit grounded. But then again, at Venture Cafe, you come across so many people. I think that is also the power of the community, right? If you are working in a place where everyone is working on that passion, on new ideas, taking a leap of faith. Okay, some things, my failure is also a part of success.
Yeah.
And I think that gives energy and a certain kind of like maybe, that fearless feeling of, okay, just, let's try it. And I do actually have to say that uh, if you build up a nice network, because that is so important, that building a network of and asking each other like, how can I help you? And in times when you need help, there are a lot of other people also that are willing to help you and guide you and give you advice and tips. And I think a lot of people keep a lot of ideas to themselves and maybe also their fears. But I would say, just try to share them, but also talk to other entrepreneurs, or to, try to find a mentor or someone that you look up to. Just be very genuine and ask them like, okay, I have an idea. How should I approach this or that? I think people only love
Hmm.
to help it. And I think that, that is the whole entrepreneurial mindset and community, right? That we should help each other and then we grow together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so another one is so we're a big advocate of starting your company while you still have a job. We all know the, let's say, the hero stories of the people who came from nowhere and became the ultra rich and so forth. But we always believe that people know those stories because they are the exception. So how do you look at this? Do you feel like it's a good thing to start a company while also having a job, or do you feel like, okay, maybe you should like feel that fear of having to make it?
Yeah, I think less. Yeah, I'm the baddest example then, I think, because I always had a job next to building a company. Yes, I think that if you are in a difficult situation and you really need money and you really need to like build a company right now from scratch, it gives you more power to do it, and you're more quicker. Because if you work at a company and you're thinking about a startup, it's kind of like as if you're being a little bit lazy. It's, oh, I will do this will come, I'm doing that. But everything that you give attention grows. So if you give something 100% attention or 200% attention, it will grow. But if you're doing like 10 things and everything is 10 or 20%, yeah, then it's kind of, you're in your comfort zone. So I do think that, yes, you should really definitely take um,
Take the
the
leap.
good, exactly, take the leap and just do it.
Yeah.
Those people, will actually grow faster and become, I think, maybe even better entrepreneurs. Yeah. I'm too,
Nice.
I'm too analytical. Like I analyze a lot and I think a lot. Still, that is my, my challenge always. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so I mean, I know you as a very social person. You mentioned, it's good to have a big network, to have an active network, to reach out to people, asking them how you can help, how you can be helpful to them. Any other tips, of course, besides, joining the Venture Cafe sessions, on expanding your network?
Um, I think Venture Cafe is the best example, and I'm very grateful that it's there. But also, it's also just, it could be also your fellow students, for example, or join a student board, or become a volunteer at an organization. It's about, building a network of interesting people. And sometimes, you should not be so focused on, oh, I'm doing this to get that. It's more that you should, expand your network by trying to connect to people, trying to be very helpful or interested, and be real, like be genuine, and not trying to think about, oh, it's all about me and I want this and I want that. It's basically give to get. Yeah, and I think that sometimes, life, in life, things happen for a reason, always. Sometimes it's not very clear why things are happening now, but I think that Venture Cafe is a great example of people that, it's kind of a, how do I say this? People just end up at Venture Cafe in, a phase or a weird moment in life, and then things just change. But that is exactly how it should go. If you meet like-minded people, or, it's as if you when you start a company, sometimes you even change your friends. Like, I'm like, they don't understand me, or my family thinks I'm crazy, and then you develop a different network of people that do understand you. I think that is exactly how it goes, right? You grow into a network. But yeah, I think it's also a little bit of, evolving and changing, and learning. And also in moments of failure, you do really notice, like, how many, how big is your network. And don't be afraid to reach out when things are going wrong, or if you need help, because you're not alone. You're never alone. Sometimes you do think you're alone, but you're never alone. There's always
Nice,
someone
very
there.
wise words.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's the age. So.
Here's a funny thing, funny question from the audience, and I guess it's not too serious, but if your family doesn't understand you, I mean, you can change your
Yeah.
family, but like, are there things in your personal relationship with your family that you like consider differently or approach differently?
Yeah, well, you know what they say, right? Never do like business with family or those kind of things. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of truth in that. But it's not about, changing your family. It's that you just change and you evolve, and you need, support in different ways, and you connect to people on a different level. And sometimes even, like, serendipity is very important in Venture Cafe, and I think that is the magic. The magic happens when you kind of let go, and then come into this, step outside the comfort zone, and meet other people and talk to other people. And from everyone that you meet, you might learn something. And it's not that you were actively searching for it, but you just wind up talking to someone, for example, at Venture Cafe, and then the person is from a totally different industry, but still, there was this spark of inspiration or something that you got out of it. So everywhere, all day long, there are a lot of signals, and there's a lot of inspiration everywhere. So yeah, changing your family, no. But you might change your friends or the people that you hang out with. Yeah, that's why I think I like co-working spaces so much. That you could work at home, you could work at a corporate or whatever, but the nice thing of a co-working space is that you meet a lot of like-minded people, but also people from different industries. But then again, it's so great to it's so nice to learn from each other. And there's always a business opportunity if you pay attention to it. Always.
Nice. Well, you've inspired me to step outside my comfort zone more often. So I'm definitely going to look for some volunteering opportunities after this session. So I've asked you a lot already, but this is one with which I want to end this session. And every week we ask our speakers about the biggest fuck up and the lessons they've learned. So anything practical, that you've learned along the way that you thought, oh my God, if this happened, I hope to just share something that makes sure that other people do not make the same mistakes, or that this doesn't happen to other people?
Yeah, good one. You know what I really don't like about entrepreneurship is the finance part. And I have to say that you have to learn, you have to try, you need to understand because numbers are everything. Numbers will tell you everything about your company, but it is not my favorite part of the company. It's never been. But I think that if you don't look at the numbers and you keep, closing your eyes for the parts that you don't like to do in your company, it will come right back at you and bite you. Yeah, for sure. So you have to know exactly what's going on in every part of your company, from finance until customers or product design. You need to know everything. It's not that you are, you're not an expert maybe, but you need to know how it works. Like how does the tax work, or how do you, etc. And the other part
Hmm.
is that, yeah, failure. I think failure is a part of that being fearless too, right? You're fearless, you're trying out something, it didn't work out. Too bad. It hurts. It hurts a lot. But, you will turn that hurt into an opportunity again. I think when I started Made at Home, I had this vision that, oh, I'm gonna help all the mothers that are now on welfare and had a distance to the labor market. This is a great opportunity for them. But I was 27, and all the mothers that I worked with were like much older, and not having a job is just one of the problems that those people had. They had also a lot of debts and other relationships problems, and I just thought, okay, I can help you all. And I basically made
Hmm.
all the mistakes that you could make, and even had situations that people threw a party at a house, like a customer, like in their own house or something. So yeah, I've been through it all. But I think that you have to be fearless, and there's failure, but that's also when you learn. When it hurts, you learn. Yeah, and then you
Nice.
can showcase that you've learned by doing it, correctly the next time, or
Yeah.
or better. So yeah,
Nice. Yeah, you should not be afraid of failure in that
no,
sense, as long as you learn from it.
yeah, as long
Nice.
as you
All
get
right.
up, as long as you get
Yeah.
up, that's the thing. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for this 45 minutes. I love this session. Again, thanks Anoesjka, Executive Director for Venture Café. Again, just to suggest to everyone, join one of the sessions. I'd say good luck with BioBox. Good luck with Made at Home.
Thank you.
And love to talk to you soon. For everyone who's watching, thanks for being here. Next week, we're going to talk to Tarique Arsiwalla, co-founder of Protix. And yeah, so for now, have a great evening, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Bye. Shout out to Venture Cafe team.